Welcome to the Vetri Community Partnership Training Module for Cooking Workshops with IDD participants, presented in partnership with Rowan University Department of Health and Exercise Science. Vetri Community Partnership is a nonprofit organization that provides nutrition education through hands-on experiences to more than 20,000 people of all ages across Philadelphia and Camden each year. VCP was founded in 2008 by Chef Mark Vetri and restaurateur Jeff Benjamin. We operate at more than 75 sites, including schools, community centers, farmers markets, food distribution locations, and healthcare facilities. We believe that when people cook for themselves, they are more likely to explore and enjoy a wider variety of food and realize the powerful role food plays in leading happier, healthier lives. We know from witnessing it in our classrooms that everyone, including individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities, can participate in the cooking process. To bring this theory of change to life in our kitchens, we eat. We provide exposure to and encourage appreciation of whole foods. We create and sample simple, healthy recipes. We educate. We host hands-on cooking experiences, teach cooking skills and nutrition lessons. We empower. We build knowledge and confidence in the kitchen and promote healthy living. We're excited to help you do the same with participants in your classes. Module agenda. In this module, we'll talk about why cooking skills matter, pre-cooking skills, strategies for efficient cooking, kitchen setup, fundamental kitchen equipment, adaptive cooking tools, and building a recipe, which you'll do with your class participants and one of our recipe modules. Why teach cooking skills? Cooking skills can make a big impact on people's lives, no matter who they are. Cooking promotes independence, encouraging people to create for themselves and problem solve along the way. Even in 24-hour care environments, being able to create personal snacks or meals can make for a less restrictive environment. Cooking is an opportunity to practice bilateral coordination and fine motor skills and to build strength. It's motivating. There's something to show for the effort, and that reward doubles as a yummy meal or snack. Cooking and eating exposes participants to new colors, textures, and smells. Individuals who are involved in the cooking process are more likely to try the finished product and increase their intake of nutritious foods, including fruits and vegetables. In this module, we'll talk about some of the ways everyone can participate in the cooking process. Pre-cooking skills. Pre-cooking activities can be used to strengthen the skills required for cooking before using sharp blades and the stove or oven. Practice cutting with plastic knives and working without heat are two ways to ensure that your students can complete recipes safely before advancing to the use of sharp blades and the stove or oven. Let's talk about some specifics. Knife skills and safety. Using Play-Doh and plastic knives gives participants the opportunity to learn how to safely hold and use knives. Even though there is low risk for injury during this practice, it's important to emphasize that they should still use practice knives appropriately. This means no waving them around, pointing with them, or using them for anything other than cutting. It's also important to practice gripping the knife and keeping fingers tucked and out of the way of the blade while cutting. Take the time to demonstrate grips, finger positions, where to put a knife when not in use, and moving around the kitchen with a knife. Practicing straining. To work on straining without using boiling water, practice straining marbles from cold water using a pot and a colander. This will aid in developing the strength and motor skills needed for straining hot items. Practicing with a cold oven. Before pulling a hot tray from the oven, participants can practice removing from the oven a cool tray with some objects on top. Participants can also practice moving around the room with the tray. Have them practice putting the tray in the oven and taking it back out. Practice measuring and matching. It's important that participants can match measurements from the recipe with the labels on the measuring tools. We also want to identify the difference between the sizes of measuring spoons and dry and liquid measuring cups. One option is to create flashcards with measurements to work on identifying the word and symbol, such as C for cup or TSP for teaspoon. You can practice measuring with dry ingredients like macaroni or dried beans, or liquid ingredients like water. Finding items in the kitchen. To help participants get to know the kitchen and ingredients, you can have them go on a scavenger hunt to find what they'll need for cooking. They can match ingredients and tools to the picture on the visual recipes. You can ask the students to find tools, equipment, and ingredients based on where they should be kept: in cabinets or drawers, on shelves or hooks, in the fridge, freezer, pantry, or countertops. Kitchen setup. Take some time to help your participants get to know the kitchen layout. Give participants a tour of the kitchen, identifying equipment and exploring cabinets and drawers. Consider if everything can be easily reached or moved, or if changes will make the space more accessible. Arrange things with your participants so they feel part of the process and that their input matters. This enforces that your goal is to help them cook independently. Easy storage. The way things are stored in the kitchen can make it easy storage. The way things are stored in the kitchen can make using it easier for participants. Here are some helpful tips on storing and arranging ingredients. To make it easier to lift and pour from large containers, store ingredients in smaller, lighter containers. For example, you can store vegetable oil in an empty spice jar or pour milk into pint or quart containers. To make it easier to scoop and level dry ingredients, store dry ingredients like sugar, flour, and salt in wide covered containers. Store spices in box containers. This will make it easier to put on the counter to see which spices are needed. Strategies for efficient cooking. The more you cook, the faster and easier it will be. Here are a few strategies for efficient cooking. Read all the recipes thoroughly before starting to cook, making sure all steps are fully understood. Collect ingredients before beginning to assure that you have all the necessary items and cooking equipment for the recipe, making substitutions wherever necessary. Be consistent and repetitive. Repeat the same recipe a few times until participants are able to make it easily on their own. Read and understand the recipe. Reading a recipe is a fundamental cooking skill. Before you start gathering, prepping, or cooking, read the recipe, ideally twice. Familiarity with common cooking terms will ensure that the recipe is understood. Identify, define, and review key terms and definitions in the recipe before you get started with cooking. Highlight or bold-face terms and equipment in the recipe and offer a definition or a glossary of terms for participants. Refer to the VCP reference library that accompanies this module for a list of cooking and kitchen terms and definitions. VCP Fundamental Kitchen Equipment. A well-equipped kitchen makes cooking easier for everyone. You don't need top-of-the-line tools or a restaurant's worth of equipment to have a very useful kitchen. Our VCP mobile kitchens are designed to be efficient and productive with as few tools as possible. And our recipes are designed to be affordable and accessible to anyone. This is some of our most used equipment: clear liquid measuring cups, set of dry measuring cups, set of measuring spoons, mixing bowls, rubber spatulas, ladle, thermometer, colander or strainer, rolling pin, wooden spoon, slotted spoon, tongs, can opener, box grater, knives, chef's knife, a serrated knife, and a paring knife, peeler, scissors, cutting board, skillets, pots with lids, blender or immersion blender, storage containers, utensils, and serveware. Almost all of these are available as adapted cooking tools. Check out the resource library that accompanies this module for a more exhaustive list of kitchen equipment. Let's talk about outfitting a kitchen with adaptive cooking tools. There are a variety of tools that make the physical movements of cooking easier and more accessible for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Knives, utensils, and cutting boards have been designed to support the physics of grips used constantly in the kitchen, like power, precision, cylindrical, spherical, and hook grips. Most cooking challenges can be made more accessible to those with disabilities with some creativity and research. Work with occupational therapy colleagues to find the best tools and techniques for your participants, and explore resources online that specialize in adaptive cooking, like AbilitySuperstore.com, AccessibleChef.com, or others recommended by rehabilitation centers, support groups, and research organizations that specialize in helping individuals with IDD live independently. Functional tools. Functional tools serve a specific purpose in the kitchen and can make common tasks easier. Jar openers are helpful for those with limited hand strength or coordination. Can drainers make draining canned products easier. Utensils with large or silicone handles and different angles promote ease of use. Specialized tools like these can be used hand over hand until the individual is comfortable with using the tool independently. Non-slip material. Many cooking supplies are available with non-slip surfaces, which prevent them from sliding around while prepping and cooking. Silicone pot holders come in handy when used as a grip surface for hot items. There are mixing bowls available with non-slip bottoms, as well as cutting boards with non-slip edges to keep them from sliding. Plastic cutting knives and safe cutters. Plastic cutting knives work great for most recipes involving cutting. They have no sharp blade, cut most fruits and veggies, and are available in many styles and sizes. Cutting hard vegetables, such as carrots, can be difficult, but possible with practice. Other single-use tools designed to aid in a particular task may be worth the investment for certain disabilities. The palm peeler can be safer than traditional vegetable peelers, and the food chopper slices and chops fruits, vegetables, nuts, cheese, and herbs. The blade spins with each push and continues chopping to make finer cuts. Easier to understand tools. Some tools assist the cognitive aspects of cooking. Big labels or color-coded objects can help with mathematical identification and sorting tasks. Nesting prep bowls can be differentiated by color and are useful in sorting ingredients in preparation for beginning a recipe. Angled liquid measuring cups with measurements visible from above can be easier to read. Cooking a recipe. Now that you've spent some time thinking about navigating the kitchen and its tools, use a VCP cooking module to make a recipe. Before you begin, consider the layout of the kitchen, including whereabouts of the ingredients and equipment needed for the recipe. Substitute adaptive cooking tools where necessary. Refer to the glossary of cooking terms in the resource library to clarify any directions. Follow along with one of our VCP cooking modules to learn how to create a recipe from scratch. You can choose from any of our 4 lessons: breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. Be safe, have fun, and enjoy what you make. This initiative was funded in part by an Inclusive Healthy Communities grant from the Division of Disability Services at the New Jersey Department of Human Services.